If you are driving right now, or maybe sitting at a desk, or just walking around your house, take a really quick inventory of your body.
Yeah, just do a quick scan.
Right. Notice your jaw. Are
Yeah.
you clenching it? Notice your shoulders. Are they sort of creeping up toward your ears?
Or are you gripping the steering wheel like way harder than you actually need to?
Exactly. We do this unconsciously all day long, and it's basically the physical manifestation of a piece of advice we have all heard a million times.
Oh, absolutely. The classic toughen up speech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The idea that to survive the real world, you just have to build a thick skin. You have to brace for impact.
Right. And we treat this physical and emotional bracing like it's the ultimate undeniable truth of growing up.
Like life is just this incoming barrage, and your only viable option is to, I don't know, pour concrete over your feelings, let it set, and calcify.
And that physical tension you just asked people to check for, that is the exact cultural baseline we are diving into today. We constantly equate maturity with hardening up. Sensitivity is treated as like a childhood phase you're supposed to outgrow.
Or a total liability you need to train out of yourself.
Yes, the unspoken rule is that the world is harsh, and therefore, you must become harsh to meet it.
Which raises a really provocative question for us. What if we have that completely backward?
I love this.
Right. What if the ultimate power move, and honestly, the actual biological key to surviving and healing, is doing the exact opposite?
It's a huge paradigm shift.
It totally is. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to really unlearn that rigid, productivity-focused, life hack approach to existing in the world.
Yeah, we are pulling from a fascinating body of work today that explores the transformative power of softness.
Softness. It sounds so counterintuitive, but we are going to explore why a radical acceptance of your own innate tenderness is, it's not a weakness at all.
It might actually be the true original source of your resilience.
So as we get into this, I want you, the listener, to consider what it might mean to drop that armor for just a few minutes.
Just put it down.
Yeah. Let's explore the possibility that your sensitivity is actually your greatest untapped strength.
To even begin that exploration, though, we really have to rescue the word softness from its terrible PR problem.
Oh, the PR is so bad.
It really is. Culturally, we just associate softness with being a pushover or, being fragile, lacking boundaries.
Like you're just going to let people walk all over you.
Exactly. But the concepts we are exploring today introduce this brilliant reframing. They define true softness through a concept called receivability.
Receivability. Okay, let's break down what that actually looks like in practice.
So receivability is the capacity to be touched by life before the armor goes on.
Wow, before the armor goes on.
Right. It happens in that tiny microsecond before the categorizations harden in your mind, and crucially, before your nervous system learns to brace for impact.
So it's like that open, undefended, wonder-saturated state of a child encountering something for the very first time.
Yes, that is exactly what it is.
But I can hear the immediate objection to that, though. I mean, cultivating a childlike state sounds dangerously close to cultivating ignorance.
Oh, people definitely make that leap.
Right, because if you walk through a harsh world completely undefended, you're just going to get taken advantage of.
Which is why we have to clearly distinguish receivability from naivety. Naivety is just a lack of experience.
Like you literally don't know the world can be bad.
Exactly. But receivability, that is knowing full well the world can be harsh, but actively refusing to let that harshness become your internal baseline.
Oh, that's a massive difference.
It is. The core thesis here is that maintaining this kind of softness requires an extraordinary amount of courage.
Because it's actively resisting the norm.
Yes. It takes vastly more strength to remain open in a world continuously demanding that you calcify than it does to simply, comply and close yourself off.
Right. Think about the mechanics of that demand to calcify. It's like being handed a 100-pound suit of steel armor the second you enter adulthood.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, society tells you, put this on, there are arrows out there, you need this to survive. And, I mean, the armor works, right?
It definitely deflects the arrows.
It deflects the arrows, but if you are encased in 100 pounds of steel all day, you are severely restricting your own mobility.
You're completely trapped in there.
Exactly. You can't feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. You can't feel a hug from a friend.
You are technically safe from being pierced, but you are completely numb to the beauty of the world.
And lugging that steel around all day is just, it's exhausting.
That exhaustion is totally key to this, because the culture rewards hardness, speed, certainty, emotional containment.
Think about the modern workplace.
Right. You are rewarded for having the answer instantly, for never showing vulnerability.
For pushing through exhaustion without a single complaint.
Yeah. So society tells the developing child that their natural open state is inefficient, that it's a liability.
But a child doesn't choose softness as some, like, intellectual philosophy.
No, not at all.
Sure.
Softness is the baseline human physiology. It is our natural state before we are conditioned to put on the armor.
Which means that healing or, returning to a state of well-being, it doesn't require us to acquire some new, complicated skill.
No, it really doesn't.
It requires us to reclaim something that was systematically taken from us.
And we really need to look closely at how it was taken, because it rarely happens through one huge catastrophic event.
It's way more subtle than that.
The research refers to this process as the slow erosion of a natural environment that once held you.
Slow erosion, yeah.
It's the continuous withdrawal of what we can call permissions.
The stolen permissions. Honestly, this is where the rubber meets the road for me.
Yeah, it's hard
Because we were talking about, like, the permission to not know the answer, or the permission to genuinely need someone else without feeling like you're being burdensome.
or the permission to just delight in tiny, seemingly insignificant things.
Yes. Or to cry without immediately jumping to the conclusion that there is something fundamentally broken within you that needs fixing.
But perhaps the most damaging stolen permission in our modern era is the permission to simply be present in your body without performing productivity.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We are totally conditioned to feel this low-grade guilt whenever we are not actively producing value.
Or optimizing our time or moving towards some kind of goal.
We constantly feel like we have to justify our existence through our output.
Exactly.
And if we look at the mechanics of this, that slow erosion, that constant pressure to hurry up, quiet down, and produce it, does way more than just make us stressed.
It does. It fundamentally alters our biology.
Well, really, it changes the biology.
It literally rewrites the nervous system. And this is the big pivot from philosophy to physiology.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, when a child's permissions are slowly revoked, the nervous system interprets that environment as physically unsafe.
So it learns to brace.
Yes. It shifts into a chronic state of sympathetic arousal, fight or flight.
Right, the stress hormones kick in.
The body is flooded with them because it perceives the demand for constant productivity and emotional suppression as a literal threat to survival.
Which brings up a massive issue with how we currently approach self-improvement and healing today.
Oh, totally. It's a huge trap.
Because when we realize we're burned out or traumatized, we tend to apply the exact same toxic productivity-obsessed lens to our recovery.
We just make it another job.
We turn healing into a rigorous, optimized checklist. We meditate for 10 minutes on some app.
We drink a green juice.
We write 3 things in a gratitude journal, and then we get frustrated when our nervous system isn't magically fixed.
We are essentially trying to life hack our way out of trauma.
Yeah.
But you cannot outlogic a wounded nervous system.
You really can't.
The nervous system operates largely below the level of conscious thought. It is ancient, pre-verbal survival hardware.
So when you treat your healing as just another task to be aggressively executed,
Or if you view your tenderness as a flaw that needs to be permanently eradicated, you are just recreating the original environment of threat.
you're just demanding performance from your nervous system again.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are standing over a terrified animal with a stopwatch, yelling at it to relax.
That is the perfect image. Yelling at it to relax, it makes no sense.
It really doesn't. The brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, does not speak the language of to-do lists or rational arguments.
Right.
When it senses a demand, it actually shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain.
So your gratitude journal is literally just your logic trying to boss around your survival instincts.
Exactly. The amygdala only speaks the language of environmental safety.
Ah.
The architecture of your nervous system is shaped entirely by the relational environments it inhabits. It learns from experience.
So if it learned to brace because it was in an environment of threat,
It can only unlearn that bracing in an environment of care, and this is not a metaphor, it is raw physiology.
but practically speaking, I mean, we still have to live in a world with deadlines, mortgages, and, difficult people.
Unfortunately, yes.
We can't just teleport to some utopian environment of pure care.
Right.
So if we can't logic our way to healing, and we can't life hack it with checklists, how do we actually alter our environment when the external world remains totally chaotic?
Well, the framework for this involves making an internal shift first. It is described in the text as becoming the parent your nervous system always needed.
Becoming the parent your nervous system needed, that implies a massive shift in how we relate to our own internal state.
It requires consciously creating internal conditions that feel like a soft place to land.
Oh, I like that. A soft place to land.
If you can't control the chaos outside, you have to radically alter the environment inside. The texture of this restored inner world is spacious. Yes, it makes room for contradiction. It stops demanding immediate certainty all the time.
And part of creating that spaciousness, right, involves making room for non-utilitarian questions.
Yes, the wondering.
The kinds of questions we used to ask endlessly as kids, like, why is there something rather than nothing?
What happens when we die?
Or, why does the color blue feel sad?
Yeah.
As adults, we train ourselves to stop asking these because they don't help us pay the rent or finish a work project.
They have absolutely no practical value.
None. Yet they are the most alive questions a human being can carry.
They really are.
It makes me think of how we manage our smartphones. We are so obsessed with optimizing our battery life, right?
Oh, constantly.
So we continuously swipe up and force close all the background apps.
Right. Closing everything out.
And as adults, we basically treat daydreaming or wandering curiosity or just like staring at a weird bug on the sidewalk.
We treat them as useless background apps.
Exactly. We treat them as background apps that are draining our mental battery for the real work. We force close our wonder to optimize our output.
But the irony of that smartphone analogy is that forced closing apps often takes way more processing power than just letting them run in the background.
Wait, really?
Yes, and the same is completely true for human biology, the sheer cognitive load of maintaining that heavy steel armor.
The constant suppression of your natural instincts?
That is what actually drains your battery.
Oh, wow. That makes so much sense.
When you reopen those apps, when you allow those big, beautiful, completely useless questions to exist without needing them to produce a result, you aren't wasting energy.
You are allowing joy to exist as its own complete reason.
Yes, it is a quiet repermission of instinct. You rest when you are actually tired, instead of just pushing through with another cup of coffee.
You eat when you're hungry.
You pause. Just because something is beautiful, you allow yourself to feel grief without trying to neatly contain it into a socially acceptable, convenient shape.
So returning to unoptimized time and like non-transactional connection is really the indicator that a damaged system is finally coming back online.
Exactly. It doesn't make a person less sophisticated or naive, it makes them whole.
But I imagine this usually triggers a very deep fear for people.
Oh, the fear of vulnerability is massive here.
Because the skeptic listening right now is likely thinking, if I live like this, if I stay soft, spacious, and open in a world that is objectively harsh and competitive, I am going to get crushed.
Armor exists for a reason.
Right, exactly. I will literally not survive without it.
We assume armor is the only way to protect ourselves. But the source material argues that softness is deeply protective.
Protective? How?
It just protects through a completely different mechanism. Armor protects by walling off your interior, which, as we discussed, eventually suffocates it.
Right.
Softness protects by keeping your interior alive.
But how does keeping your interior undefended translate to actually surviving a difficult environment?
Because the byproducts of softness, things like wonder, curiosity, the capacity to be moved, those are renewable resources.
Oh, renewable resources.
Think about it. When you are wearing armor, every hit you take dents the steel.
Yeah.
Eventually, the structural integrity just fails.
You burn out, you break.
But when you allow yourself to be open, to be deeply moved by something unexpectedly beautiful, it does not deplete you. It replenishes you.
That's incredible.
A person who stays connected to their receivability is remarkably resilient because they are tapped into an energy source that literally never dries up.
It almost means we need to redefine resilience entirely.
I think we do.
Because we usually picture resilience as a rubber band, right? You stretch it, it goes through immense stress, but then it snaps back into its original rigid shape.
Right, bouncing back.
But a rubber band has a limit. Over time, it gets brittle. The more it snaps back, the weaker it gets, until one day it just completely snaps and breaks.
It's a flawed model for humans.
Totally. True resilience operates more like a river.
Oh, I love the river analogy.
Right. A river doesn't fight a boulder by trying to be harder than the rock.
Go.
It survives and finds its way through obstacles and canyons precisely because it is fluid, soft, and continually replenishing itself.
Yes.
It yields to the shape of the obstacle, but over time, its persistent softness literally carves through solid stone.
Exactly. The river doesn't survive by becoming a rock. It survives by remaining water.
Survives by remaining water.
And what actually threatens our survival is not pain or difficulty. Human beings, even small children, navigate pain with remarkable wholeness if they are held in the right environment.
So what breaks us then?
The true threat that breaks us is an environment, whether internal or external, that tells you your sensitivity is unwelcome, that your tears are a problem to be solved, and your smallness is a failure.
So the healing environment isn't necessarily a physical place you can escape to.
No.
It is a quality of relationship.
Primarily, the relationship you have with yourself. In a culture that has largely declared an absolute war on softness, choosing to offer that quality of spaciousness and welcome to your own inner life is a quietly radical act.
It really is.
It is standing up and saying, I will not harden to survive. I will find another way through.
Finding another way through by remaining fluid, it just reframes the entire journey of adulthood for me.
It changes everything.
Choosing the path that stays open, that keeps feeling, that returns again and again to that beginner's mind. It isn't a detour from your personal power.
It is the origin of it.
A calcified shell is brittle. It can be shattered.
Very easily.
But a deeply nourished, soft, and alive interior can adapt, it can heal, and it can continue to grow, honestly, regardless of what the external world throws at it.
That's the real strength.
Well, let's pull all these threads together for everyone listening.
That's good.
We started by challenging that deeply ingrained myth that growing up requires us to toughen up and build a thick skin. We looked at how true softness, this idea of receivability, is actually the ultimate courage, requiring far more strength than simply hiding behind 100 pounds of emotional armor.
Absolutely.
We explored the biological reality that our nervous systems do not heal through logic or productivity hacks. They heal through physiological safety.
They need that care.
Right. We discussed the necessity of becoming the parent your own internal state needs by reclaiming those stolen permissions. You know, the permission to rest, to wonder, and to just not know.
And we saw how that wonder serves as a renewable resource for true river-like resilience.
Yeah. So if there's one crucial takeaway from this exploration, it is that your sensitivity is not a failure of adaptation.
No, your wonder is never an inconvenience.
And your tenderness does not need to be fixed or transcended or optimized.
It needs to be welcomed back.
Beautifully said. Now, if you have been clenching your jaw, gripping the steering wheel, and wearing that heavy suit of armor for so long that you genuinely forgot what the sun feels like, taking it off is going to feel terrifying.
It's going to be scary at first, yeah.
But I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over today, something that builds on the biology we discussed. We established that our nervous systems are literally shaped by the relational environments they inhabit.
They learn from the physical and emotional energy around them.
Exactly. And if that is true, then softness must be contagious.
Oh, that's a powerful thought.
So consider this. How might your quiet, radical decision to drop your armor to remain soft, fluid, and receivable today subtly become the safe environment that rewrites the terrified nervous system of someone you interact with tomorrow?